If your knees are giving you trouble, what you're about to see is going to be more useful than anything else you've come across. Knee discomfort has a way of quietly stealing the things you used to do without thinking. The stairs, the walks, the activities that used to just be part of your life. And it happens gradually enough that you stop expecting to feel normal again. But here's the thing, the knee is almost never where the problem starts. It's just where the pain shows up. So instead of going after the knee directly, I picked one exercise for each of the most common places this kind of discomfort actually originates, which means there's a strong chance your answer is somewhere in this list. The first exercise is called a terminal knee extension, and it targets the muscle just above and inside your knee, the one that's responsible for keeping your kneecap tracking where it's supposed to. When that muscle goes quiet, which it does faster than you'd think, your kneecap starts drifting under load, and every step, every squat, every time you take a stair becomes a grinding, irritating problem. And the thing that makes this feel so frustrating is that your legs might still feel strong in every other way, but this one small muscle going offline is enough to make your knee feel like it's failing you entirely. To do this, you'll need a resistance band anchored in front of you at about knee height. Face the anchor, step into the loop so the band sits just behind your knee, and take a small step back to create tension. From there, with a soft bend in your standing leg, you're going to straighten the knee against the band's pull, not a full lockout, just a controlled squeeze through that last few degrees of extension, then slowly let it back. The band is what makes this work because it loads that muscle at exactly the angle it needs to wake back up, and within a few sessions, you'll start noticing your knee feeling more stable just walking around. If you don't have a band, you can still do this against a wall by pressing the back of your knee into a folded towel, but the band version is worth getting. 3 sets of 15 reps, and you want to actually feel that muscle engaging above and inside the knee. If you don't, slow it down. One of the exercises coming up looks almost too simple to take seriously, but it's addressing a part of the chain that could be the fastest needle mover to making your knees feel like they did 20 years ago. But before we get to that, we need to talk about the tibialis raise. Your knee doesn't just absorb pressure from above, it takes it from below too. Every time your foot hits the ground and your ankle can't absorb the impact the way it's supposed to. The muscle running along the front of your shin is what controls that. When it's weak, impact travels straight up through the ankle and lands directly in the knee. And because it never shows up in any standard workout program, it's almost always the weakest link in the entire chain. The tibialis raise fixes this, and it's so easy to do. Stand with your back flat against a wall, heels about a foot out in front of you, and simply lift the front of your feet toward your shins as high as they'll go, then lower them slowly back down. It feels almost too easy at first, and then it doesn't. What you're actually doing is building the shock absorber that your knee has been missing so that ground impact stops traveling up the leg and starts getting handled where it should be, at the ankle and shin. 3 sets of 20 reps, and if you want to add load over time, a weight plate resting across your toes works fine. The burn you'll feel in the front of your shin tells you exactly what's been underworked for years. Think about that for a second. A muscle that far from your knee has been quietly letting it take on impact it was never meant to handle. That's the whole idea behind this list. These first 2 exercises are going after parts of the chain that a lot of conventional fitness advice never touches. And that's kind of what FitZip is about, cutting through the noise and giving you the stuff that actually moves the needle. If that resonates with you, then you're really going to like Reset Your Body because it was built with that same idea in mind. Most programs ignore mobility and stability entirely, and that's exactly why so many people keep getting hurt, feeling stiff, and have poor mobility. If you want to move better, feel stronger, and actually stay in the game long term, there's a QR code on screen right now for you to scan with your phone, or just check the link in the description below the video. And if you're wondering if this Reset Your Body blueprint is for you, you can scroll down to the frequently asked questions after clicking the link. So here's that one that I mentioned that looks almost too simple. It's just a step, your body weight, and one leg carrying all the load, and it's exposing a weakness that most knee pain sufferers have no idea is part of their problem. The muscles running along the side of your hip are supposed to be controlling where your knee goes every single time you take a step or climb a stair. When they're not pulling their weight, your knee caves inward slightly with every rep, every stride, every time you push off. You don't always feel it happening in the moment. But the knee is absorbing every single one of those micro collapses, and over time that adds up. Find a step or a low box somewhere between 4 and 8 inches high to start. Step up with one foot, drive through that heel, and bring yourself all the way up until your standing leg is fully straight, then lower back down with control. The temptation here is to push off the back foot to help yourself up, but all the work needs to come from the leg on the step. because that's the pattern your body needs to trust when it's doing this on a real staircase or an uneven surface. If you feel your knee drifting inward as you push up, drop the step height until the movement is clean. 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps per side, and keep your focus on the hip driving the movement rather than the knee. There's another muscle on the side of your hip that works alongside everything you just trained, and it's doing a slightly different job. The step-up challenges those muscles under real load and movement. This next one isolates them in a way that forces them to fully switch on, which matters because for a lot of people, these muscles have been dormant long enough that the body has stopped relying on them altogether and has been compensating ever since. And compensation is a slow tax. You don't feel it all at once. You feel it as stiffness the morning after a walk, or a knee that aches after sitting for an hour, or a subtle hesitation before you go down a staircase you used to take without thinking. Lie on your side with your hips stacked and your knees bent to about 45 degrees, with a light resistance band sitting just above your knees if you have one. Keeping your feet together, rotate your top knee upward as high as it'll go without your hips rocking back, then lower it with control. If you can get through 20 reps without feeling anything working on the side of your hip, the band stops being optional. 3 sets of 15 per side. What you're rebuilding here is the muscle that stops your knee from collapsing inward the moment real demand hits, whether that's stairs, a hill, or just an uneven patch of ground. This is the kind of exercise FitZip keeps coming back to, not because it looks impressive, but because it fills in the gaps that everything else leaves behind. And here's where it gets even deeper. Everything you've built so far gets tested the moment you're on a single leg with real load. And that's exactly where a lot of people find out their body still has a gap. A body that feels solid on 2 legs but loses control on one is still one bad step away from a problem. And for a lot of people with chronic knee discomfort, that's exactly the gap that never gets addressed, because most rehab and most standard programs never train the body the way it actually moves in real life, which is almost always on a single leg. The single leg deadlift closes that gap. It pulls together the stability, the hip strength, and the ability to control your knee under genuine demand, and it directly trains the back of your leg and the muscles around your hip that support the knee from behind, which is the one part of this chain I haven't hit yet. Stand on one leg with a very slight bend in the knee and hinge forward at the hip, reaching your opposite leg back behind you as a counterbalance until your torso is roughly parallel to the floor. Then drive through your heel to come back up. If you need a light weight in the opposite hand to help with balance, use it. It actually makes the movement cleaner by giving you something to anchor against. Keep your hips level throughout the hinge. The moment one side drops or your hips rotate, you've lost the point of the exercise. 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps per side, and be deliberate on the way down. The slow, controlled descent is where the real stability work happens, and it's what starts to give you back a body you can actually trust. One that doesn't have to hesitate before a step, brace before a squat, or protect itself from the kind of movement that used to feel completely automatic. And if you want the full body program built around exactly this kind of training, the link is in the description.